Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a piece of source material that's incredibly concise, but man, is it dense. We're talking about emotional strength. We so often think of resilience as this mysterious trait, right? Like you're either just born with it or you aren't. But what if it's actually an architecture, a deliberate structure we build through very specific inputs? Well, let's map out how it actually functions.
So let's start with a fundamental question pulled directly from our source material. How resilient are you? Hold on to that question. Use it as a lens for literally everything we're about to cover. This isn't just a rhetorical question, it's totally diagnostic. But to answer it accurately, we really need to understand what we're actually measuring here.
All right, Section 1, the inputs of resilience.
Our foundation here requires two totally distinct pillars, and they have to be present at the exact same time. On the left, we've got low stress, and on the right, honed coping skills. It's this essential duality. Basically, one is your environmental condition, and the other is your acquired internal ability. You absolutely need this scale perfectly balanced to actually build resilience.
Let's look first at low stress. This is that quiet, baseline environment you absolutely need before any real psychological strength can even be built. I mean, think about it. You can't build up reserves when you're constantly stuck in a state of high alarm. Low stress is like the clearing in the forest. It's the calm weather you need to finally pour the concrete. If your baseline environment is constantly overwhelmed by high stress, that entire architectural process is completely disrupted. So minimizing that baseline stress isn't just about feeling relaxed, it's literally a structural necessity for building future strength.
Now, the second half of our equation is active. We need coping skills that are deeply honed through deliberate practice. Notice that specific word from the text, honed. A tool that's honed has been sharpened, it's been tested, refined, and purposely maintained over time. And what this tells us is that resilience is never passive. We have to actively participate in sharpening our psychological tools. Whether that's processing a bad day, regulating our emotions, or problem solving, these skills absolutely must be kept sharp and ready right alongside that low-stress environment.
Moving right along to Section 2, the behavioral reserve.
Okay, so what actually happens when you combine that quiet baseline with those sharp tools? Well, you generate what the source formally calls a behavioral reserve. Think of this like an actively stored bank account of psychological energy. It's a literal stockpile of readiness. By maintaining those two inputs we just talked about, you're essentially making daily emotional deposits. You're stockpiling psychological capital so that it's just sitting there, waiting for exactly when you need it most.
Really notice the word create here. This reserve isn't an accident. It's a deliberate achievement. The combination of low stress and honed skills manufactures it. And honestly, I find this incredibly empowering, because you aren't just crossing your fingers hoping you'll be strong enough when a crisis hits. By managing your daily stress and practicing those coping mechanisms, you are actively manufacturing your own psychological safety net. You are the builder here.
Which brings us to Section 3, facing adversity.
This causal chain lays out the exact mechanics of resilience, and it's a perfect logical progression. Step 1 feeds directly into Step 2, which then unlocks Step 3. You simply cannot skip straight to being ready for adversity. You have to trace the line backward and do the foundational work first. Ensure you have the reserve, which means ensuring you have the low stress and the sharpened skills. The source provides such a clear, undeniable roadmap of cause and effect right here.
Successfully building this reserve literally allows an individual the capacity to feel a profound, genuine sense of inner strength. I absolutely love the word allowing used in the source material. It's like the behavioral reserve grants you permission. It provides the internal clearance to just feel strong. When you have that stockpile of psychological capital, your brain knows it. It senses the preparation. And because that reserve is there, you are granted the internal sensation of strength. It's not some fake pump yourself up kind of strength. It's a quiet, confident strength that's born from actual, real-world preparation.
And this brings us to the culmination of our formula, where that internal strength transforms into an outward readiness to face the inevitable adversities of life head-on. Look, feeling strong internally is wonderful, but the true test of resilience is the external application. Adversity is going to happen. The source definitely doesn't promise a life without challenges. Instead, it promises that if you follow this blueprint, when adversity inevitably arrives, you will be in a state of absolute readiness. You won't be caught off guard. You'll be fully prepared to meet the moment.
When you assemble all these components together, you get this incredibly elegant psychological equation.
Low stress and honed coping skills create a behavioral reserve, allowing individuals to feel strong and ready to face adversity. Every single word in that sentence pulls its weight. It starts with your environment and your habits. Then it moves into the creation of a stored psychological resource, and finally it blossoms into tangible, real-world strength. It is the complete life cycle of human resilience in one sentence.
So now that you understand the exact architecture required to build a behavioral reserve, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder in your own life. How resilient are you? Seriously, ask yourself that question a bit differently now. Are your coping skills truly honed, or are they kind of getting dull? Are you prioritizing a low-stress baseline, or are you constantly running on empty? Are you actively creating a behavioral reserve for the future? The blueprint is right here in front of us. The rest is simply a matter of construction.